Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where today we're breaking down England versus Iceland and explaining how terrible Gareth Southgate is as a coach and a manager. And yes, Kobe Mainoo is at fault for a couple of these, the goal, but also he's not the only one. There's some other little key problems I'm going to mention as well. But also, I'm going to explain a little bit more about Mainoo, and he shouldn't be in the England team. He's not good enough, right? Let's stop people thinking because he played at Manchester United and all this other rubbish. No. You don't have people like this, and you put them in international competitions in these sort of situations, and this is a classic example. I'm going to show you another clip later on about why he's just not good enough. And there's a reason why you have old wise heads in centre midfield at the international level. Because they don't get caught out and they sniff out danger because they've seen it a million times. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's just young and he can run around a bit and he can get in the way a bit. And that's what you really need in the Premier League because it's a lot of pace and power. It's not tactical and strategically thought out as much as international football. And remember, Iceland ranked 70th or something in the world. England should be battering them. With the firepower England have got and the players that they've got, there is no excuse whatsoever. So what ends up happening is you highlight people like Mainoo because of the simple mistakes that are being made. They are so much more apparent. But Iceland should just be easy to break down. It's Iceland. It's not Germany. It's not Brazil. It's Iceland. And if England are struggling to do it against these guys, they'll struggle to do it against everyone. And that comes down to the manager, and because his attitude is portrayed on the field. He's not a winner. England, by a nation, are not winners. They don't understand what winning is. Winning is the most important thing. In England, if you say that to a coach in the FA level, they won't say that. They'll go, oh, no, we're taking part and passing the ball. No, you've got to win. Winners win. Winners know exactly what I'm talking about. All the losers will be complaining, going, oh, it's not about winning. Yes, it's about winning. The whole sport is about winning. So what we're going to do right now is start talking about how they're passing the ball out of the back. So when this first ball comes across here, we can see England have got 5 people high pressing the ball. Okay, not too bad. But let's just move it on a little bit. As this ball goes out here wide, Bosch, we can now see he's too tight. Okay, fine. He's all right. But you can see this gap here that's starting to appear. Right, England here have got too many people high. Why? Because the ball, they're not behind the ball, right? So if you're doing this pressuring here, your midfield has to be on point. And the other problem, let me explain why I'm explaining all of this here. It's because Southgate doesn't have a clue. The reason you can play high-pressing football is because your midfield know exactly where you're going, where the pressure pocket is being built, and which side the ball is going to be won on. In England's case here, they don't really know, because look, you can see the gaps, how big the gap is between these two here. You can see how massive that gap is. Now, you might not think it's big, but in international football, it's massive, even with a team as bad as Iceland. So, as we move this on just a little, and here's that gap I was telling you that disappeared. Can you see it there? All that extra space, and because now you've got no England player that can pressure the ball. And this is what I'm also talking about. Southgate's not, he doesn't have a clue about actually coaching football because he's allowed this to happen. Now you've got a point of, can everyone do their job? Get back, drop off, hold your shape, do your job. Contain the football, make sure they don't beat you in any extra space. That's not what they do here. Now I want you to keep an eye on the runners here as we move this forward, because clearly you can see this pocket, this whole channel here. Now, if this is a quality midfielder, not Kobe Mainoo, he's already realised the problem. Walker's up. He fits in. Doesn't matter that Carl Walker's going to the ball. Doesn't matter. Your central defensive midfielder needs to be jogging back, already starting to cover, because he's gone high. He doesn't understand that because he's 19 and he doesn't know, right? His coach needs to be telling him right now to get back. He thinks he's doing his job because he's guarding that guy in the centre midfield, and he doesn't realise the pocket of space that's been exposed because this guy stepped forward. He's supposed to. That's exactly what he's meant to do. He's the closest person to put pressure on the ball. He's not goal side, so Walker steps up to do his job. Walker immediately assumes, like obviously he plays with Rodri at Man City, all the Man City midfielders are going to understand and then cover that gap. And when I mean cover the gap, they don't go in and play right back. They cover the... So imagine that's the right back going forward. That'll be the centre back. That'll be the gap space. That's where Kobe Mainoo is. He needs to come back and just cover that space there. So stops any sort of... basically, he connects with the three and he doesn't get isolated. He's isolated here. Right. So if we move this forward, you'll see exactly what I mean. Now he's sort of watching. He's not really jogging back. See, that's what I'm talking about. He needs to be about there. That's the difference. That couple of yards. Because then all of a sudden this next pass can't happen. But it does. Bosch, in it goes. He has no idea No clue that that's his space and his spot there. And the whole team's been caught out of possession here. Caught because of their lack of shape and understanding of their shape, not a possession. Chatting shit there. Right, so he had to be drifting over. If he was just stood anywhere near where I needed him to be, that pass had never been made. And if it was, he would have been close enough to intercept. So everybody else is pushed too far forward. Of course they have, because they think they've got a defensive midfielder who actually can read and know the game, and he's not. He's not at that level. He should never be put into this level. The guy's going to ruin his career if he keeps getting put in the England team in like this, because this is a massive mistake. Massive. And when he gets back to his coaches in Man United, they're going to point out, like, mate, how did you not read? Your right back's pushed on, and you're not supposed to be covering in the zone here, and you're standing in the middle of the field, and the player you were marking is completely and utterly gone. Like, so, yeah. Now the race is on, because here's the other point. As the defensive midfielder, he's now just got taken out of the play by a simple pass where he wasn't in shape. Now he's behind the ball and he can't do anything. Well, it's okay if he's Kyle Walker out there because he's got someone to cover for him. In the centre midfield, when you make a mistake, there's no one to cover for you. They get to run straight at the back four. Now, if you also look at the back four, they're getting torn apart as well. So we're looking at John Stones. He's kind of out of position here a little bit. He's getting pulled wide by the striker. And you can see how these three are completely and utterly occupying the back line here. And again, if this is happening, you're talking about Declan Rice getting caught too far forward. Well, right, that's fine. But you've got an inexperienced child playing in centre midfield with him who doesn't know what he's doing. So you cannot have Declan Rice paired with him because one's trying to get forward, the other one's not really holding. And when a simple pass like this splits them, it's massive, massive problems. England, in my opinion, right now are all over the shop. And one of the main things, I'm going to add a little ramble here about England's setup before the Euros. You start your strongest lineup the game before the tournament. So everyone's playing, everyone's in sync, and everyone's ready to go. All these excuses of, we're trying to do this and that is rubbish. That's from losers who've never won anything in their life. They haven't coached anything, even like an under 6 3v3 tournament. They don't know what they're doing. You play your strongest team and you get everyone in sync. And if this is England's strongest team, there's going to be lots of problems. But let's just move on because I want to show you the isolation between John Stones and what he can do better. Okay, John Stones is in the 2v1. He knows it, and he knows the most important thing to get in the game of football is the football. He starts to run over. Look, you can see he's starting to shove the gap over here. But again, we've got another problem because whoever this guy is here, not sure who's playing centre back with him, whoever his partner is, but he's not good enough, and he needs to come back in here and keep that line instead of running with this player and giving this guy. So as he's running, he's opening the space for this guy to run into. So he doesn't know what he's doing. He shouldn't be playing in an England shirt. John Stones is pressuring the ball. He should have been going with him and keeping that line high there. So then he's not allowing the person with the ball to run into the space that he is creating. What you do is you're shutting the space down because you're staying there, making that pass harder because, well, you're stood in front of him and you can intercept it and he's got to time the ball right and then you can go for a foot race. And I'm assuming the England player is faster than the Iceland player, so we can afford to keep him onside and go for that run. Right, so Stones is coming over to cover, as we can see. So it's going to be a 2v1 here. And let's just see how that transcribes. Okay, perfect. The ball's gone out wide. Exactly what John Stones really wants to happen. All he's got to do now is keep him there and wait for the backup. And this comes down to what winners do. If this is Man City, Kyle Walker, as you can see him right there, would not be on the halfway line still. He, because his manager expects him, he would have been back here. Because bearing in mind, remember when I was yelling at Kobe Mainoo and Kyle Walker a minute ago? That's about how they were. One's kind of run back in Mainoo, the other one's kind of jog back in Kyle Walker, and Kyle Walker's really, really quick. If he wanted to, he would have already been back in there. And this mindset where people say you can turn it on and turn it off, well, yeah, you can. When you've got a manager like Pep Guardiola, you're always turned on because you always know. I don't mean like always turned on in that way, guys. Because you're getting those signals from the sideline all the time. When it's someone like a Gareth Southgate and you're kind of being lazy and you're doing your pizza parties and whatever, you're not bothered about getting back and doing your job. That's why Kyle Walker is still up here when this ball gets played in here. Because if this is Man City, when John Stones go to pressure here, Walker would have been slitting in to play centre-back and covering for his teammate. It's not, because there's absolute laziness in this England team. Now, this is body shape, which I talk about all the time. So the distance between these two here, okay, It's okay, but John Stones is too high. He's too deep to be facing this way, right? Because he's opening his back there for this player to turn and shoot. If he's a little bit further back there, that's okay. That's because he's level with him. So the guy, he's just basically showing him his back. This guy can see John Stones' back. He can cut inside and shoot. This is on John Stones right here. He needs to be better than this. He knows he's gone a little bit too far forward. Now, I'll tell you the other reason he's done that is because the Iceland player is slow. So as John Stones is using his normal recovery pace, he's a yard ahead of where he needs to be. And that extra yard is showing him his back where he's going to cut into and smash because this Iceland player is a yard slower than him. And here's the other point. Where's Kobe Mainoo going the whole time? He is the defensive midfielder. And at not one moment has he run towards the ball to help his centre-back. At not one moment does he understand that his job and his responsibility is to go and win the football. All he's done is basically jog back in a straight line and not go and pressure the football, which is exactly what he needs to do. So it gives the opportunity for this guy to take a little touch and smash it into the net box. And let's go on to the next point here, where Jordan Pickford just gets beat on the inside of his near post by a strike from out here by someone that plays from Iceland. I don't even know if the guy plays in any top-tier football league in the world. Not sure on him. But he's not one of the best strikers in the world. If that's a Harry Kane, best striker in the world, shot, you're going, okay, it's Harry Kane. If it's some guy from Iceland, you go, nah, come on, Jordan, you should have been much better there. But again, they're not. England they're going to struggle in the Euros. I'm going to cover every game and I hope you watch it with me. I'll see you next time on Cash Yells at Footballers.